Hey, hello, welcome. Today I thought it would be fun to talk about cooperative games because it is one of my favorite board game mechanics, like working together, one common cause. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I thought it would be a fun thing to come up with a top 10 from my collection, that is, of games that I think would fit a lot of people and would be great in a lot of collections. So with number 1, we're starting off really small. This is Similo. There's different versions, like I don't even know how much there are now. Myths is one of my favorite ones, but Similo is so easy to play. It's small. Pretty much anyone can play it. It doesn't take up a lot of space on the table, and you can combine these. You can play with 2 different ones. For instance, you can play with myths and with animals. In this game, players need to guess the missing character from the characters that are laid out on the table. Each round, a hint is given by the person that chose the missing character. Every round, the other players take away 1 or multiple cards, and at the end of the game, you're supposed to be left with the missing character. If you take away the wrong character during one of the rounds, it's game over. Next up, I have another small box game. It is The Mind. Exactly the same reason I picked Similo is the reason why I picked this one. Easy to teach, anyone can play it, doesn't take up a lot of space, and it is so funny. In The Mind, you're supposed to place down the cards in your hand in ascending order from 1 to 100, but you don't know which cards are in the other player's hands, and you cannot communicate with them. So that means if I, for instance, have 1 and you, for instance, have 5 in your hand, then that means I need to place down my 1 very fast on the table before you place down your 5, or we lose. And the thing is, with this game, it gets harder every round, because in the first round you have 1 card in your hand, in the second round you have 2 cards in your hands, and you can continue until all the way up to 12. It is so much fun. It's great for a game night or a party or wherever, actually. It's great anywhere. Next up, I went for a little bit of a recent purchase in my collection. It is Marvel United. There's been a big buzz about it online because it has so many expansions. This is the base game, so it's only with like the base characters. You can add as many expansions if you want. You can buy them all. You can just buy this one. Doesn't matter. It's really easy. It's really fun. Perfect for somebody who loves Marvel, but you don't have to be a fan to actually like this. You just take on the role of one of the heroes. You walk around the modular board trying to fight one of the villains in this box. So each villain has his own way of being defeated, which means that it's always a little bit different. It's really fun. It's really easy to teach, and I think it should be in your collection. Next one is a slightly bigger box that makes a lot of noise. This is Manara. This is actually a dexterity cooperation game. Now, what this game is that you build up, like here, a beautiful ruin. You have to build it up with the help of the other players. So you each put like these small wooden sticks on the board that there is. Then other boards get added and you build up. So like actual building a temple. The fun thing about this game is that during the game, the recommendations for the temple that you have to achieve actually change. So for instance, you can have a recommendation all of a sudden that you have to build another story on top of everything before the game ends. So this is a really fun game. It looks a little bit like this. So the players are gonna stack all of that up. They're gonna make the temple the way it's supposed to be, and it is very hard if you don't have a steady hand, but it can be really, really fun. Next up, if you're a Halloween lover like I am, this would be perfect for you. Horrified. So there are a bunch of monsters loose in the town, and you and your players are gonna work to extinguish those monsters, but each monster reacts differently. Each monster needs different things to be defeated. It's really fun, it's really interactive. The monsters move on its own, so they chase you down the board. Each time that players' turns have ended, it's really fun. There's actually a second one with the American monsters, I think, or like the more American lore. But this one is really cool. It has Frankenstein and his bride. I love those two monsters because they actually work as two separate units and they walk towards each other. Their goal in life, in this gameplay, is that they have to meet each other on the board. You have to prevent that, and I love those. Then there's Dracula, there's the mummy, there's the werewolf, there's the monster of the Blue Lagoon, and the Invisible Man. Wait, I think I got some people mixed up right now. Anyway, really fun game, a little bit gloomy, a little bit dark, amazing gameplay though, and really cool, easy, still easy. All of these are pretty easy. So yes, Horrified. Now I said all these games are really easy. This next one is a little bit less easy because it's such a big box also. I chose Night Tales. So this is a Kickstarter. This is heavy. So it's a little bit harder because it's quite the box, as you can see. Night Tales, you take on the role of knights and you protect the village. That's pretty much all it is, and there's monsters coming in. There's a whole board of monsters, and then when you defeated them all, you get the really big boss monster at the end. But the thing is that you can work together to defeat them all. You have your character with its special abilities. You can build it up a little bit, get more stronger, and you just save everyone. It's a little bit harder to learn, but once you get to know how it plays, once you know how this game is, it's easy. The setup in this game is also really cool because there's walls and these elements of the town that you're protecting, and they can go away. When you get attacked, one of those elements gets taken away. So that is kind of the health of that town. Also, something really cool about this game, it can be played cooperative or semi-cooperative. Semi-cooperative we haven't played yet, but I think it's at the end, like that you are trying to get more points. Like you still fight together against the monsters, you still make sure that the town survives, but in the end it's about the points that you collected during that cooperative part. So it can be semi-cooperative if you like that little bit more of a I did better than you type of aspect. But I don't really think this game needs it, but it's nice though. The next one on the list is an absolute classic. It's Pandemic. Now, I'm one of the biggest fans of Pandemic, I think. There's so many different versions. I just chose the base game because, you know, classic, but there's so many different versions, so many good ones. Not all of them are cooperative though. That is something that you need to take into account, but this is really fun. It's easy, it's well constructed, it has a bit of strategy. You need to communicate a lot with the other players to make sure that you reach the goal, which is getting rid of all the diseases in the world and saving humanity. You take on the role of different medical characters, for instance a doctor or a quarantine specialist. Everybody has their own abilities that will help you win the game, hopefully. This is a really hard game to win. It plays really easy, but is a really hard game to win. We haven't won Pandemic that much, but it's amazing. Next up is also a bigger game. It's Mysterium. It has quite the amount of components. It has a lot of cards in here, but they are gorgeous. So the purpose of this game is that people take the role of psychics and they're trying to figure out this mystery. Like what happened during this situation, and one of the players is gonna be giving out the hints. It's gonna be very abstract cards that you're gonna have to link with location, with who, with the murder weapon. It's a little bit like Clue, but it's way more fun in my opinion. It's just so gorgeous. Again, also very easy game, very easy to play. It does take a little bit of space on the table, but that's all fine. The next game, or two games actually, are perfect if you like a good challenge. The first one I have right here is Paleo. So this is actually a game that is like based in prehistoric times. You are a group of humans that is trying to survive each night, which means that you need to have enough resources, enough food, and etc. to survive. This game has different modules. Each module is gonna ask you to collect different things. You're always gonna need food for your characters that you're playing with, but you're also gonna need, for instance, wood, extra meat, or stone. The more characters you're playing with, the more food you also need to collect, so that is also extra hard, but it's a really, really well-designed game. It looks really cool, by the way. It's nicely designed also. Yeah, it's really hard. I think we only like made it through maybe 2 or 3 different modules. Like you can also combine different modules. There's usually 2 or something playing in the game. But yeah, there's a lot of gameplay in this. It's always different. The cards also, everybody shares a deck that gets cut for the amount of players that there is. So there's always a different configuration going on. So I really like it. And last but not least, I think this game is a little bit near and dear to my heart for me, Resident Evil. Now this is 2. It doesn't matter if you want to go for 3 or maybe the new Kickstarter that is hopefully coming soon, because I can't wait. I ordered the alpha pledge, the all-in pledge for the new Kickstarter. Anyway, so you can go as big as as small for these games as you want. There's expansions. I, for instance, have 1 expansion for this one and then 1 expansion for Resident Evil 3. We are finishing this one first before we're going on to Resident Evil 3. We've been going at it for a while, but haven't played actually in a while, and holding this one really wants to make me play right now. So you take on the role of one of the characters in Resident Evil and you're fighting all the monsters and all the zombies in the game. The really cool thing about this is it works with scenarios. The scenarios are made with a modular board, so you're gonna grab big tiles, put them all together, make your map on the table, you like make it yourself, place all the items on there, and then play through it. The monsters are very hard to defeat. I am always so unlucky with the dice that I need to roll. So unlucky, but it's so much fun. The only thing about this game that I don't really like is that the tiles can be very dark and sometimes you don't really see if there's a door open or closed, but it's not that bad. Also, if you really like this game, you can buy things on Etsy or just make things yourself or whatever to show that the door is open or closed. It's really fun. I, for instance, am gonna upgrade these games with 3D printed things that will actually replace the doors and the walls and everything, but it is actually part of my all-in Kickstarter for the Resident Evil, the board game. So the 0, I think, is this one is due. But yeah, it's supposed to fit for all of them, so I just figured if I'm gonna get that in the Kickstarter, I might just wait for it. And I'm very impatient and it is costing me everything. But yes, this is the last one. The Resident Evil games are my pride and joy in my collection. And yeah, Resident Evil 2. So I hope you liked this video. I hope you got some ideas of maybe cooperative games. Let me know if you have any questions about them. I'll be more than happy to answer. You can just leave it down below in a comment, or you can message me on Instagram. I'm on there like a couple of times a day. I'm pretty active in my answering, so don't be shy. If you want to know anything, just ask about it and let me know down below what you thought about this list. As I said, it's like my favorite ones from my collection that I think would thrive in any collection, or at least a few of them. You don't need to buy them all. I have a lot more board game related content on my channel or on my Instagram. Just go check out both of them. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.